The Abraham Accords were a series of diplomatic agreements initiated in 2020, led by the United States, aimed at normalizing relations between Israel and several Arab nations. The accords marked a historic shift in Middle Eastern politics, as countries that had long avoided formal ties with Israel agreed to establish open diplomatic, economic, and security relations. The first agreement was announced on August 13, 2020, when US President Donald Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and UAE Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan jointly declared that Israel and the United Arab Emirates would normalize diplomatic relations. Soon after, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco followed suit, joining what became known as the Abraham Accords. The term Abraham Accords was chosen to symbolize peace and unity among the followers of the three major Abrahamic faiths, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, all of which trace their spiritual lineage back to the prophet Ibrahim. The stated goal was to promote coexistence, peace, and cooperation in a region long divided by conflict and mistrust. However, beneath this message of unity lay deep political and strategic motivations. For the United States, particularly the Trump administration, the Accords represented a major foreign policy victory, a demonstration of its ability to broker peace in the Middle East without resolving the decades-old Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For Israel, the Accords were a monumental achievement, breaking its isolation in the Arab world and opening the door to new partnerships in trade, technology, and defense. Before this, only Egypt, 1979, and Jordan, 1994, had recognized Israel. Yet the Abraham Accords were met with strong criticism from the Palestinian leadership and many others in the region. The Palestinian Authority condemned the agreements as a betrayal, accusing the participating Arab states of abandoning the long-standing Arab peace initiative, which conditioned normalization with Israel on the creation of an independent Palestinian state. Critics argued that the Accords sidelined the Palestinian cause and allowed Israel to gain legitimacy while continuing its occupation policies. While the Accords were promoted as peace agreements, they were not treaties ending any actual wars. The signatory countries were not at war with Israel to begin with. Instead, the Accords formalized diplomatic, economic, and security cooperation between Israel and states that had previously maintained informal or covert ties. After signing, Israel and the Gulf nations quickly began direct flights, investment deals, and joint defense projects, marking a new phase in regional integration. Each country had its own motivations. Morocco gained US recognition of its sovereignty over Western Sahara, while Sudan was removed from America's list of state sponsors of terrorism. The UAE and Bahrain, meanwhile, sought to strengthen their security alliances with the US and counterbalance Iran's growing regional influence. Thus, the Accords were not purely about peace. They were also deeply rooted in strategic and economic interests. Supporters of the Abraham Accords described them as the foundation of a new Middle East, one where cooperation replaces hostility and shared interests override historical animosities. However, critics maintained that without justice for the Palestinians, such peace would remain superficial, a peace among governments, not among peoples. Many analysts viewed the Accords as part of a US-Israeli strategy to reshape regional alliances and isolate Iran, rather than a genuine step toward comprehensive peace. In essence, the Abraham Accords represented a historic realignment in Middle Eastern politics, one that normalized relations between Israel and parts of the Arab world, but left the core issue of Palestine unresolved. They symbolized diplomacy and progress to some, and political compromise and betrayal to others. Whatever one's perspective, the Accords undeniably marked the beginning of a new geopolitical era in the Middle East.